5 reasons why Europe has fallen behind America. How competitive is the European Union? 15 years ago, it was on its way to overtaking the US. Today, it is hopelessly behind. In 2008, the EU's economy was $16.2 trillion. The US was slightly behind, with $14.7 trillion. In 2022, the numbers were very different. $19.8 trillion versus $25 trillion. Moreover, that number includes the UK for a fair comparison. But after Brexit, the EU's economy is less than half of the American one. Here's why. 1. Technology. Remember when Europe had tech innovations? Today there are only 2 European tech companies in the top 20. One is ASML, a Dutch semiconductor manufacturer. The other is the German IT giant SAP-SC. Otherwise, Europeans rely on Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. Innovative products such as Skype or DeepMind are a thing of the past. The former was bought by Microsoft, the latter by Google. 2. Education. There's a simple reason why startups don't thrive in Europe. Look up any global university ranking. There's rarely more than one entry from the EU. It's all dominated by MIT, Harvard, Stanford, and Britain, of course. Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial College, and others still count. But for Swedish or French students, the choice is grim. 3. Industry. Remember ASML, the Dutch semiconductor giant? In 1990, Europe made 44% of the world's semiconductors. That figure is now 9% versus 12% for America. Both the EU and the US are rushing to build up their capabilities. 25 new plants will open in the US by 2025. Europe is planning to add 10 for the entire continent. That picture is the same for electric vehicles and microchips. 4. Capital markets. In Europe, you're better off finding a job than starting a business. Investments are hard to come by. One reason is very limited financial incentives. The EU has only just begun issuing common debt. Its budgets are still woefully small. Of course, private capital is available, but in Europe, it's almost exclusively American capital. As a senior Deutsche Bank officer says,
if you want to get anything sizable done, whether it is an acquisition or an IPO, you always go back to American investors.
5. Energy. By now, Europe's overdependence on Russian energy is well known. Sure, Russian oil and gas are cheap, but there's another huge problem. Europe has almost no energy of its own. America has plentiful and cheap domestic supplies. It's now the world's largest producer of oil and gas. Both the US and Canada are vast fuel treasuries. Compared to the EU, cutting ties with Russia didn't make Europe autonomous. Now it's equally dependent on the US, Qatar, and Azerbaijan, and the energy prices have skyrocketed. What it means for European industry is obvious. Europeans pay 3 to 4 times as much for energy as their American competitors. This has already led to factory closures. BASF has moved its chemical operations to the US. Other European leaders are close behind. The US offers them favorable conditions. Europe only offers more regulations. Will it bounce back?